Hey everyone, it's Verowak. Welcome back. This is episode 2 of the tutorial for Oxygen Not Included. What we've done now, we've gotten to the point where I didn't give them anything else to do for the duplicants. There's 4 idols, so they're just waiting around doing nothing. One thing you should try to keep a handle on is, see how there's a lot of stuff laying around? That makes them unhappy. Over here at F8, that's the decor overlay. Green is good, red is not so good. Here it tells you that there's negative decor because there's stuff on the ground, so they have to learn to pick up after themselves. We have storage bins. So if you tell your duplicants to do storage bins, we'll go build them, and then that's where you put everything in. So there you go. Okay. So they all have break at the same time, so none of them finished. Which can be an issue. We've got 3 bathrooms and we got 4 duplicants. If they all have to go at the same time, that's not necessarily good. Like imagine if you have, let's say 20 duplicants, which is way higher number than I ever want you to get, and 3 bathrooms, 20 of them at the same time, you're gonna have some issues. Some of them might just have to wait too long. What I'm gonna show you is scheduling. It's really, really useful. I'll just let this play while they're in their downtime. One thing I can tell you is do different schedules for your duplicants. They all have different shifts. So here we've got default scheduling. This is how it is. Downtime morale +1. If you add 1 more square, it increases their morale by 2. So I would suggest you do that. The next thing to do, you're like, okay, well, what do I do with the second schedule? Just offset it by 2 squares each. So if the downtime starts on this square, just start it 2 squares later. We got 3 squares of bedtime, and then 1 square of bath time after. And then you what I can advise you is try to keep 2 duplicants per schedule. At least the way that I play, I usually eventually only have 2 bathrooms at a time. So 2 people having the same downtime would be perfect because they use the 2 bathrooms, and then even if there's 1 person waiting around, 1 isn't too bad if you got offset downtimes. Right now, we've got Frankie and Liam. Liam's at the bathroom. He should be sleeping, but he didn't plan his bathroom time well enough. So now you're gonna get, these 2 are gonna wake up. Stretch, yawn. I'll always look at their facial expressions. It's the greatest. When they get stressed or they're happy, it changes and it's just, oh look, happy. You can even watch them do their jobs. Oh yeah. Everything's clean. They're disinfecting things. Few things to show you. Disinfecting. We'll click the germ overlay. You can determine when they start disinfecting things. If you want 0 germs, you can literally tell them to disinfect at 1 germ. The only thing with that is they're going to spend a lot of time disinfecting things. And typically 10,000 is a good start. Like imagine, you could go up to there, but I haven't gotten that far. Just stay at 10,000, that's fine. Especially with food poisoning, it's not that big a deal. 10,000 is fine. As long as you've got wash basins and you check from time to time where the food poisoning is at throughout the colony. We've got Ellie's running on this because it needs to power the oxygen diffuser. We've got the research station, which says no research focus selected. Here we've got the research tab, and everyone knows what a research tree looks like. They all look slightly different, but you start from the left at the basic things like, learning to do compost or a planter box, all the way to the right where hydrogen engine, so cryofuel combustion. Slightly different. It's going to take a little bit to get to there. Research tree. The thing I start with the most, I prioritize, is basic farming because I want the compost and I want the planter box. Those are the 2 main things that I get. As soon as you select a research, they'll be able to research things. Just starting out, don't worry about this right now. It's just, eventually when you get used to it, you can tell them what you want them to prioritize. So, if Liam is good at farming, you're going to tell him to farm. So the darker the cell, the better their skill. So Ashken, you can prioritize digging. Ellie's good at operating, so she's going to run on the truck. If you don't have to worry about this. Like, you know what? I'll just keep it simple. Keep everything normal. Don't even bother with it. whenever someone can research, they'll go research. It's that simple. Deliver dirt, and now Frankie's researching, and they're building. We got the storage bins. You can choose what you want. If you want to be specific, if you want, well, I only want algae in this one. You can do that. You can find organic and say, I just want algae. Or what you could do is starting out, just say all of them. It makes your life easier. So you've got a second one. You can go through, click all, or a neat little trick. You go copy settings. Settings applied. Same as that one, settings applied. And once these are built, you can apply the settings as well. So there we go. We've got this going. The next thing is this micro musher is not doing anything. You can make mush bars, which is literally dirt and water. So you're taking the dirt and water, you're squeezing out the nutrients, and you're gonna see what happens. Or you can make a lice loaf. So the lice loaf, the only thing with that is that you need meal lice. So right now it needs 1,200, 1,200 kcals, but we only have 600, so we can't even make one. The other thing to note is the quality is grizzly, so it's -1 morale. Quality is terrible, it's neutral, it doesn't affect the morale. If for some reason you realize that, oh hey, I only have 1,000 kcals left and I've got 4 duplicants, queue up your mush bars. Just do it. If you have to, if you're getting low on food, definitely queue up mush bars because you don't want your duplicants to starve. If they starve, well, I mean, they're starving. Not a good thing to do. What I try to do is try to harvest as much mealwood as possible. So if I can get here, I can harvest this one, I can harvest this one and that one. Like I have access to more of them, which is good. Here I've got these guys doing that. We're researching. This is the research bar. So as we know, taking a bit of time, but that's fine. If you want a bit more detail, it's 5 out of 15, so we're a third of the way there. Also check your messages at the top left. Oxygen generation is insufficient. Somewhere else you could go is reports. If you go to report, it tells you cycle 4 today. You just go to cycle 3 yesterday to see what happens. So you got the calorie generation, -700 kcals. Stress change, no worries. So the net right here, working time, or 48% working time, travel time is 17%, personal time, so their downtime, 32%, and idle was 0.5% because I had them doing nothing for a little while. It also tells you the base details, how much oxygen was generated. So we added 131.5 kilograms of oxygen, but 192.8 was removed, so we didn't produce enough oxygen for my duplicants. The reason for that, even though this is producing 500 grams per second, it stops when it's at max pressure. So if this is max pressure, it'll stop, which is why you try to have 2 spaces, 2 squares wide for the oxygen to travel through. So same here. There we go. So they're just building. All the while, Frankie's research station is going to have to be given dirt, supplied with dirt. This is full, so only need to go on the hamster wheel once the batteries are at 20%. There we're not even close to 20%. There we go. So we just wait. So while we wait, I'll just slow down the game so they can build this and harvest everything. And I'll explain to you what these are. These are different biomes. The first one, I don't know what the biome is called. It's just a safe zone. We'll just call it the safe zone. And then you've got this, which is full of slime, which is the slime biome. The slime biome is special in that it has slime lung. So that's the second kind of germs that your colony can have. You have food poisoning, which is produced from the toilets, and occasionally you find food poisoning in the map, like right here. Bit of food poisoning, but it's going down slowly. But slime lung, wherever there's slime, there will be slime lung. So you have to be careful. Do not, well, I mean, you can, you'll learn from it, but I advise you to not dig any squares with slime lung until you know what to do. For sure, like what I did when I started, I just plowed right through and then dug everything and realized, oh, people are dead now. It takes a while for them to die, but if you don't know what to do, that's fine. I'll explain what to do with slime lung in this tutorial once we get there. It makes no sense to charge right into it. So that is the slime biome. There's different, there's a lot of polluted oxygen, there's polluted water. We get different kind of flora. Like we've got dust cap, which is mushrooms. We've got thimbleweed, which gives you fiber for different things in order to be able to build different things. You've got different kind of critters. So you've got these puffs, you've got fish. Just different kind of material. And the ore in here is gold instead of copper. And then you have the caustic biome. So the caustic biome is hydrogen and chlorine filled. So it's like the sanitary biome. I don't really know what to call it, but this one has iron, and it has different plants as well. So we've got balm lily, which is used for, it has medicinal properties. You have a pinch of pepper plant, which is good for food later on. And you've got mirth leaf, which is used for decorations. Oh, and same with the bloody bud decorations. Just like this bluff briar is for decoration, bristle blossom is for food, mealwood is for food. And then you've got these guys here, muckroot, which is food as well. And these, in the caustic biome, which is the purple, you have different different critters. You got Drecos, and we can't really see the other ones, so there's morbs as well. So it's just different biomes that have different, fauna and flora, different materials. There's also a cold biome, there's an oil biome, there's space. There's a few different things. And the cold biome, you'll see it's blue because there's snow and ice everywhere. The oil is, there's magma, there's oil. So instead of having polluted water, it'll be black oil. Yeah, so, which we're not gonna get for a while. Alt S makes you be able to do this zoom out. Oil is like all the way down here. Space is like all the way up here. So not quite there yet. Here you got research completed. Perfect. Next thing to research, I would say, is get the jobs board. It's gonna improve your duplicants' skills, their abilities to do things. So now that I've got the planter box, a quick tip. If you can do this before you need to make mush bars, it's great. So just gonna build this. Also for your rooms, try to have 4 squares tall. So 1, 2, 3, 4 between the two. Like that you can fit 2 doors and you're good. That's what I'll do here. I want them to build this. Planter boxes is gonna let me plant different plants. And then I'll be able to harvest them. So the good thing, so you're like, well, why do I have to harvest them? I mean, why do I have to put them in planter boxes if they're already growing here? So in the wild, it takes 12 cycles for them to grow. But you don't have to give it anything. It's just going to grow on its own, and then you harvest it in 12 cycles. Down here, the domestic growth. If you plant them in your base, so like a planter box or a farm tile later on, you have to give it dirt every cycle, 10 kilos of dirt per cycle. But the life cycle is 3 cycles, so you can harvest it 4 times for every 1 time in the wild. So that is great. If you can do that, it's really going to help your food. The mealwood gives you meal lice, which you could have lice loaf with in the micro musher. So that's the plan. So we got this. You tell them plant this. Copy setting. Copy here, here and there, here and there. We'll get to it eventually. So even if it only says you have 8 seeds, but you can keep copying and pasting this for however many you have, planter boxes you have. Eventually when they get more seeds, then they'll plant them. So, this is good. 36, get rid of this one, and everything will be okay. There we go. I try to rush this to make my duplicants not have to eat mush bars. But again, if you don't get to this until, your calories are lower, just don't be shy to make mush bars. It doesn't matter. Like, I'll make a few here anyways for you guys to see. But ideally, if you can, get this before your duplicants need more food, that would be great. Because think of it this way, if they plant these, that's 3 cycles for it to harvest. And 4 duplicants at 1,000 kcals each, that means I've got 4 cycles. So in theory, I'll be able to harvest 1 entire harvest before they need food. So here, because there's 17% growth, if I take this out and put it in here, it's only at 20% growth. So it's better to remove this mealwood and plant it in my own box. So everything's good. Everything is working fine. We've got a research station going on. I like to put research slightly higher just to make sure someone does research it. Like, that's more of a priority than, let's say, digging this. Because researching is gonna unlock new things to build. There you go. Everything is good. The oxygen is okay. If you find that your oxygen is low, so if your base starts getting blue everywhere and a bit purple, don't be shy to put another oxygen diffuser. I try to not expand too far at the start, so I only have to rely on one. So the next thing to look at, we've got meal lice here. In order to make lice loaf, I need meal lice. I don't want them to eat the meal lice before it's into a lice loaf. So you come in consumables. Here you can tell them what they can and can't eat. So I say meal lice, do not eat it because I want to use it to make lice loaf. This gives -1 morale and 1,200 kcals. But for the lice loaf, if you take the 1,200 kcals and a bit of water, then you get 1,700 kcals and slightly better morale. There you go. They'll get to this eventually. 1, 2, oh, there we go. There he is. That's what he's doing. This one's just been harvested. I can take that one out of the ground and this one, and they'll plant them in here. Same with this one and that one. So depending on how many duplicants you have, if you find you need more meal wood, I mean, that's fine. I mean, if this is full, you might as well start another one too. Like, you could just build another one here for it whenever it's ready. No issues with that. Whenever they do have a chance to do this, I'll tell them to dig it. This is 18. So the reason I do 18, so here you've got a room. Because I built the doors, this is a room now. This is a barracks. It tells you the maximum size is 64 tiles. If you go 18 long, we're going to have 1 square that's the back wall, 1 that's the door, so that doesn't count. So the room will be 16 squares long and 4 tall. You do 16 times 4, that's 20, wow, that's 64. So there's your room. That's the biggest size the barracks can be. We'll do that whenever we can. Oh yeah, whenever you're done researching, wow, you get exclamation marks over what the new things you can build are. So here we've got an algae terrarium, got a ration box, and we got compost. The compost reduces polluted dirt and other compostables down into dirt. In case you haven't noticed, the outhouse produces polluted dirt. If you have polluted dirt laying around in your base, it's going to emit polluted oxygen. So instead of nice, clear, beautiful oxygen, you're going to have some polluted oxygen like that. I try to minimize that amount because in case you do have slime lung in the air, it'll multiply. It's not something you really need to bother with, but it's good practice. Good practice. I try to build it at the bottom, away from everything. Maybe not there because I can't build it, so how about right? It all depends. It also, where you build things in your base, it's all up to you. Whatever you want to do. I have this certain layout. Other people do different kinds of layouts. If it works, there's no issues. So here we've got the research focus no research focus selected because the research is complete. That means we've got the jobs. The next good thing to get is the coal generator. Once you have the coal generator, you no longer need someone running on the wheel. So you free up a duplicant's time basically. And the next thing to do, you've got jobs board. Let's build this. Right there, looks good. Cram everything together. We're gonna build the compost, and the new furniture we got is a water cooler. Job board's gonna get built. I want that built first. If you realize you ran out of copper, you can always just tap into this, dig a little bit more copper as needed. There we go. Oh, there we go. They made a mush bar. There you go. 800 kcals of mush bar. If you need that, perfect. Just create it or fabricate it, cook it, make it, squish it, whatever you want to call it. Just mush it together. So right now I've got 18,000 kcals. I'm fine. Again, for 4 cycles, I'm okay. So I'm gonna stop the mush bars anyways. You can start making lice loaf right away if you want. If you have a tendency to forget things, it's probably a good idea. The ration box is where you put food in. That and a refrigerator, which we don't have access to. The storage bin cannot hold food. Here you just tell them, put all the food in there. This is good. The base is working well. We've got this little critter, which is a shine bug. It's a flying light bulb. That's all it is. So it can provide light for these bristle blossom. So where's the light overlay? You got light overlay here, which is what these light shine bugs are doing. That's good. You know, it's free food, basically. The reason I don't go with this is because for domestic, it needs water. I'm very paranoid to run out of water all the time. Even though I know I'm not going to, I still don't do it. It's just safer that way. And your duplicants are not going to go hungry with mealwood, so that's fine. So we've got Frankie researching. Oh, jobs board has been built. It unlocked the jobs section. So here is all the jobs you can give your duplicants, all the way to astronaut. Also tells you what the prerequisites are. So in order to be a seasoned farmer, you need to start as a farmhand, master the farmer position, and then you can become a seasoned farmer. And each job you give your duplicants, it increases their skills. So for example, when they become an apprentice miner, they'll get +2 to digging, and they'll be able to mine very firm material, which means this stuff. See, it says lacks apprentice miner. So as soon as you have an apprentice miner, they can dig this. And same with architects, increases construction, which +2 to digging increases digging speed, construction increases construction speed. Gopher strength, well, it lets you carry more. And you get an extra 400 kilos carrying capacity. Research assistant, you learn faster, you get more learning. General engineer, +2 to tinkering, so you operate things faster. So if there's like the hamster wheel, you would get, I don't actually know what it does. I'm not 100% sure what it does on this manual generator, but for other machines that you'll get, the bar gets filled up faster. Same with researching. Same thing with cooking, you cook faster. Farmhand, you harvest things faster. Groundskeeper, similar to Gopher, you get more strength, but different job duties. An art student, you can, you do art jobs faster. So if you go here, you can see what they like doing. A little heart means that they like it, and they're gonna learn that skill faster because they like doing it. What I like doing is put in a research assistant. No one likes to be a research assistant. That's fine. I'll put Frankie because he has a higher learning ability, so he'll research things faster. Got someone to be a miner. It's always good to have a miner. An architect likes building. And Liam, you be a gopher. So you can probably notice here there's exclamation marks which says Liam's current morale is 2 and farmhand minimum morale is 4. If you give him a job that he doesn't have enough morale, that's when stress builds up. And we all know this is the stress here. Once it gets to 100%, then they have their stress reactions. Either binge eating, destructive, or they could be vomiters, ugly criers. That's what all happens. So you have to notice when the stress happens. When it gets to 60%, you'll get a notification here anyways, so it's going to help out. But stress is something to look for. You don't, at the start, not really, but if, for example, you're like, hey, I want you to, go into this position. Here you need 12 morale. So they would get really stressed. They would get stressed pretty quickly. In case you're wondering what their stress levels are, so you go to vitals. Here you have stress. 0%. His stress is 0%. The change per cycle is minus 30% because they have sufficient morale, so minus 5% stress per cycle. Pleasant chit chat, minus 5%. New friend, minus 10%. So it'll tell you the total summation of their stress. And with the morale, it tells you where their morale is coming from. Last cycle's decor is ugly, so minus 1. Things like that. So you know what to improve on and what's needed. And there we have it. We got pretty good base. We got research going. We'll dig this eventually. You can actually tell them to hurry this up so we can get our compost. Refinement. Compost down here. You know what? I'll probably just build it here. Yeah, just build it there. Good enough. Down here, I don't even know. I never know where I want to build things. I keep changing things around. Probably not going to do anything here. I don't know. Just build it. That's one thing, is how you want to build your base. It's all up to you. Another thing you can do, actually, you can look at the rooms and be like, okay, well, I need a washroom. I need a flush toilet, plumbed wash station. I'm like, we don't have plumbing. We can't do that. We could do a latrine. So we have a toilet. Check. We got an outhouse there. We need a wash station. Check. We've got that. No industrial machinery. So for example, I can't put the oxygen diffuser in here. That's an industrial machine. Minimum size is 12 tiles and maximum size is 64 tiles. So again, if we do the 16 by 4, 16 by 4 here, then it will be fine. That would be our room. So I need to block this off. It has to be enclosed. If I do this, it's not a closed off room. It won't count. Here they can't reach that far from the ground. The highest they can go, 3 tiles above, I guess? I don't know. 2 tiles above the top of their heads. How about that? So they're 2 tiles tall. Now the only problem is they can't reach this area anymore, so I have to build a ladder. Which is fine. It's normal. At some point, usually I have, like, everything looking like that. I'm like, everything is 2 ladders apart just so they can hop across, and I mine all the material. Go, they're researching, they're digging. So here we've got, priority 6, get this room, these doors here, so it'll increase the morale. Room overlay, it'll increase the morale by 1. That'll be the last bit for this tutorial. Another overlay actually that I haven't shown is the heat overlay. So some bats have this, which is oxalite, just in like a little circle. Abyssalite is 1 step stronger than like this. You see how you need 1 diamond? If you mine the abyssalite here, tells you, you need a miner or a seasoned miner. So an apprentice miner is not good enough for that. But basically, you could eventually, if you need oxygen and you're in the area, you can mine this out, and then all this oxalite is going to emit oxygen. There's that. But yeah, so that's the gist of it. That's oh, that noise. It's a bit muffled whenever you're in an overlay. But learn to love that noise, the printing pod, because you get a free something or other. So for starting out, I highly advise to not get too many duplicants too fast. So we're gonna skip on the duplicants here. Usually I personally try to get like a lot of duplicants. I've gotten used to it and I don't know how to play with few duplicants, so we'll see how this goes. But yeah, basically you don't need these. To start, it's probably best to get a whole hang of everything with a few duplicants and then slowly introduce more. So we'll get the shine nymph eggs. We'll get more shine bugs. Because imagine if you had, you know, like 6 duplicants, then you need 6,000 kcals of food per day. You need to make a lot more food. Oh, just one last thing. For the farming. The way you get more seeds is you get 10% chance every time you harvest it. So in theory, for every 10 mealwood you have, you get an extra seed. You can also get it from buried objects. Buried objects are just here. So you can mine this and see what you get. It could be mealwood. It could be something else. Yeah. There we go. The first warning we get. The reason he's suffocating, click on that, see where he is. He's suffocating because he's in CO2 right here. Problem with that is that he can't get out because there's only one space here. Because of the sand that fell, because this was done after. So basically they dug these two, and then there was still material here. So this was probably like sandstone here, and then there was sand right up here. So when this was destroyed, the sand fell through. So priority 8. This is more important than anything because else people are dying. Like so. So now Ashkin can go and breathe oxygen. You get these warnings. Whenever you see a white warning, it's just sort of like, oh hey, update, building lacks resource, it's not really that important. If you get yellow, it says you might want to look into this. This might get serious shortly. And red means, if you don't do it, someone's gonna die. Like in the next half a cycle. So it's good to know what's happening at all times. And you have to be able to trace back, be like, well, why is he suffocating? Why doesn't he just go breathe oxygen? Because that little sand pile was there. He wasn't physically capable of doing it himself because I didn't tell him to dig it. There we go, we got more mealwood seeds and all that jazz. So I'll leave you guys off here. Next episode, we'll finish research. We'll choose another research and I'll explain why we're doing it. And we have a lot new building materials to look into. There we go, there you have it. It's cycle 6. I'm doing this fast because I'm used to it. When I first started cycle 6, I probably had bathroom and maybe cots. Or I had like one toilet and a micro musher, maybe cots. I didn't have much. But as you get used to it, you can refine your process and how things go. So again, thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, don't forget to ask. Don't be shy. If you need me to go over certain things and be like, well, why do we do certain things? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? I can easily explain it. To me, everything makes sense that I've done. If I can't explain it, then maybe I should learn why I'm doing certain things. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. See ya!